Welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday. So good to see you. How is everybody? Welcome to our very special extra Facebook Live for Jesse James Speeds this week. We are talking about breast cancer awareness. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and here at Jesse James Speeds, we are a huge supporter of breast cancer awareness, and it's one of those issues, you guys. I won't talk a lot about it, but I will just say that it is very, very important to make yourself aware. A lot of us here are women, and so this is an important issue, not just for women. This actually affects less than 1% of men, but when that man is your loved one, family member, friend, that's still 1% too much. So yeah, this is important for everybody. In my community where I live, we have a Buddy Check 10 program. I don't know what you guys have where you live, but it's a really cool program where on the 10th of the month, you let your friends, your buddies, know to do self-breast exams, men and women, because early detection is the best possible way to beat breast cancer. So if there's something like that in your community, I encourage you to get involved with that. I like that we have that system in place here on the 10th of the month. It comes across on the news. It's, it's very popular, and it's a reminder for us and a reminder for us to remind our loved ones. So definitely super important. Yeah, I know people get a little crazy when you're talking about the tatas, but you guys, it's all about health. It's all about your body, and awareness, like I said, is number one. So, all right. So, in support of breast cancer awareness for the month of October, Jesse James Speeds has a special bundle. It is absolutely beautiful mix of pink, because of course pink is representative of breast cancer awareness. Has really there's a beautiful strand. There is a mix that has some tassels in it. There is also one of the mini mixes that has some Swarovski crystals and some other little I'm just kind of looking at it, trying to make words come out of my mouth. And that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on the mini mix, but you can get the bundle if you want to. Go over to the Jesse James Beads website, as always, to do your shopping and check out this mix. Like I said, you can get it in a bundle or you can buy it individually. But while you're there, click on, like, at the top of the Jesse James Beads page, there's always like a banner that's showing like what's new, what's there to check out, what's different. Click on the one for breast cancer collection, because it brings up a whole other, there's like 18 items total. So not just this mix, but there are other things. Like there's a rose quartz charm that is in pink, and it is absolutely stunning. There's a connector. There are some pink pom-pom beads. There's some chain. Just really, really beautiful stuff that all works together. So you can kind of do your one-stop shop and get all your pink needs there. So definitely go check that out. Before we get started with the project, though, don't forget to come back here tomorrow. Things are going to start to get a little spooky around here. It may or may not be the beginning of some Halloween fun for Jesse James Speeds. So yeah, don't forget about that. We will be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, as always. But before we get into the spooky, let's get into this pink, because this is so absolutely beautiful. Hi, everybody. If I haven't, I've just been jabbering away and I have not had a chance to say hello. Hello to everyone. Hi, Sylvia. 20% of the proceeds from the Breast Cancer Awareness Collection will be donated to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, so keep that in mind when you are shopping over on jessejamesspeeds.com, okay? All right, so let me flip you around so that you can get a really good look at these awesome beads, and let's make some earrings. I actually have one already made, so I'm going to show it to you and you'll get to see where we're going. All right, cool. All right, you guys around here. I got to make that flip pretty quick because I'm afraid you guys are going to get like a glance of what's going on in this office. You would not believe the crazy stuff that I have all around me at the moment. This is like Halloween Central right now. Hi, Lena. Hi, Trisha. All right, so this is the Strand. This is so pretty. Isn't that beautiful? I flipped it around so these would go the right direction, and they flipped on me. That's funny. Absolutely stunning strand. This, to me, this is just like all you need is some stretch cord. That's my favorite thing to do with Jessie James bead strands. I like to take them apart and make jewelry out of them, but some of them just really, really speak to me that they need to be a stretch bracelet. This is one of those. You could do whatever you wanted to with it because the pink ribbons would make really beautiful earrings as well. But just giving you a little peek at this one, and you've got the hope bead on here that I really, really love. I agree. Joan says that strand is beautiful. It really is. It really is just absolutely beautiful. All right, so next is a breast cancer awareness strength tassel mix. I haven't even opened this yet. And I can tell you, it has these two huge, look at that, it's huge. And these huge tassels here, I don't even know what you call those, but they are stunning. Like I can tell these are gonna be showstoppers when I take them out. I'm thinking these are just gonna be earrings for me. And then there are these beautiful darker pink colors and just your regular tassels. Like this is chocked full of tassel goodness, which is amazing. All right, last but not least is our little mini mix. And I've already opened the mini mix because I had to make these earrings ahead of time. So mine are looking a little sparse. This comes in that 2-tier packaging. On the very top tier is the Swarovski. So you're getting some Swarovski bicones. These are huge. I think these are, you know what, let's just check. I bet these are 12s if I had to guess. 10. I was really, really close. So that's a 10mm bicone. That's a big bicone, you guys. There's also this beautiful heart that's front drilled. So it would make a stunning necklace all by itself. Just put a jump ring on that or a bail of some sort and you'd have a beautiful, beautiful necklace. Rachel says, so glad you said that about stretch bracelets. Sometimes I feel like they are the only thing I make. You are... I worry I'm a one-trick pony. You're not. You're not. You're absolutely not. Okay, let me just get off topic for just a second. You just stare at this beautiful Swarovski. There's more. I just kind of don't get discouraged. There's more Swarovski. There's even more than this too. Some of it's already in an earring. So just take a look at the Swarovski and let me address what Rachel is saying. Rachel, you are not a one-trick pony. Okay, stretch bracelets are the bomb. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your skill level is when it comes to jewelry making. Stretch bracelets are never going to go out of style, ever. They are never, ever going to go out of style. And they're not exactly easy. If we've learned anything from Facebook Live, you guys, and Sarah, you know, is that tying the knots for a stretch bracelet sometimes can be tricky. So it's not like it's just a super quick, easy skill. I mean, there actually is some skill involved with tying those knots and making sure that everything is in order. And you know, Jessie James beads, they do the hard work for us ahead of time by laying out all the beads in the most beautiful strand, in the most beautiful order. All you have to do is add stretch and you've got a beautiful piece of jewelry. There is absolutely nothing wrong with stretch bracelets. And let me just say, there are some very high-end jewelry companies out there that use stretch. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Not going to drop any names, but I'm just saying stretch bracelets are everywhere. It doesn't matter what your skill level is, and it doesn't matter what price you pay, because you can make a stretch bracelet out of your own Jessie James bead strands, or you can pay $1,000 for a stretch bracelet. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so you guys, look at this Swarovski. So there are tons of bicones in this. There are these little tiny 4mm. There are some 6mm. There are the 10mm. There's the heart. There's also the butterfly. And like I said, this is only part of what's in that top tier because I have used some of this in the earring so that I do have a pair when they're done and they're ready to wear. I'll show that to you in just a second. So this was on the top tier. And then on that bottom tier are even more goodies. Just dump this out for you guys. So the little bubble beads that have the stars in them, that is always a favorite. There are some more of the ribbon beads, which are super duper cool, and they're really, really pretty. They've got that beautiful pink rhinestone crystal thing on them, and then you've just got a nice little mix of silver. I love these little flowers. That's probably one of my favorites, those little check glass flowers. And there are some of these guys which I have already pulled out. This is very quickly becoming one of my favorite shapes that you can find in the Jesse James beads mixes. This kind of rectangle faceted bead that is drilled long ways on the bead. I really, really love these. We're going to use these in our earrings, so I have set these to the side, but do know that they were in this bottom tier of that mix. All right, so let me move this out of the way and I'll show you what the earring looks like so that you can kind of get an idea of where we're going. This is not a hard pair of earrings, but you guys have heard me say it a million times. It doesn't have to be hard to be beautiful. All right, so this is just really kind of a different design than what I normally do. I have a tendency to get stuck in a rut, and so this was definitely one of those rut busters for me. This was I don't even know where the inspiration for this came from, but I just thought it was just kind of a different take on a hoop, if you will. We're going to use the large bell making pliers to make these hoops on the bottom with some 20 gauge wire, and then we're just going to add some dangles to these. Now the cool thing about this is that I've added chain here and I'm using 3 on one earring, but you don't have to if you don't want to. There are lots of things you can exclude from this design or change. You can get rid of all of the dangles and just have your hoops. If I cover those up with my fingers, it's still a cool earring without the dangles, or just one solitary one of these little hoop guys without the chain, without the dangle. Just add your ear wire and you've got a really different kind of interesting earring. These are super, super easy to make. We're gonna get this taken care of super, super quickly. All right, so I'm going to set that to the side, and we're going to start with, well, I set it to the side, and then I'm going to call it back in here. We're going to start with this loop section, okay, because you need to make 3 of these. I have one already ready to go. It's this guy. We're going to make 2 of these. We're going to use the large bell making pliers to do this, so it's not hard. It's really kind of easy. One thing that I will say though is that you need to be sure that you're using 20 gauge or smaller on the wire for this, just so that your bead will fit. I initially tried to do this with 18 gauge wire, but the bead hole was not big enough to compensate that wire. So I'm using 20 gauge. And because I'm using 20 gauge, we are going to have to work harden it just a little bit. All right, so I have cut a section of the 20 gauge wire. I've actually got 2 sections of it here. About 6 inches is really going to be your safe bet. This is probably a little bit less than that, but you really want to have more than you need for this, because if you run out, it's really hard to make your wire wrapped loop on this. So we're going to use the bell making pliers. We're going to use this the large portion of the mandrel on the pliers to make that loop. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our wire and we're going to place it between the barrel of the pliers, and we're actually going to move this down more off center. Let me raise you up just a tiny bit, just so that I've got plenty of room here. All right, so I've brought the wire down towards one end. It's not in the middle, because we want a longer section for our wire wrapping. Okay, so I've got about 2.5 inches on this side, and then I've got more over here on the other side. I'm just going to hold the pliers shut with one hand. Okay, so I've got a nice good grip on that. I'm just going to bring the wires up like so. Okay, and we're going to crisscross just like that. Okay, they're not really crisscrossing it. It appears that they're crisscrossing. There's no twist or anything like that. Okay, so you can see one of the tails is much longer than the other one. Okay, and I do like to overbend just a tiny bit. You can see I've got an overbend here. Now I'm going to take this off of the pliers, and you can see I have a perfect little loop shaped just like the larger bell of the pliers. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to bend this longer wire straight up and down. And sometimes I do this while it's still on the pliers, but
it's a little bit easier to go ahead and take it off of the pliers and then, off the bell making pliers, because now I'm holding with chain nose pliers. Just don't want to get anybody confused. But now I'm holding with the chain nose pliers off center just a tiny, tiny bit, and I'm going to take that one long wire and bend it straight up like that. Okay, so now when I take the pliers away, you can see I've got that nice little bend there. It's nice and sharp, and it's pretty centered. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's pretty close. So now we have the short end of the wire. We're going to use that to wire wrap around the longer section here. And I do like to keep an extra tight grip on this, so I'm going to use my bent chain nose pliers just to hold that loop in the pliers. Okay, just so that I have a nice grip on it. I'm going to turn it this direction, and I'm going to wire wrap that short end of the wire around the long end of the wire 2 times for sure, 3 times if you're feeling it. And once you get it around there 3 times, then you just want to go ahead and trim off. Okay. Now, you may notice that you have lost your shape just a little bit, or it may have squeezed down and is more of an oval than a circle. You can always take your loop and put it back on your bell making pliers just to kind of give it its shape back. Okay, and you'll notice I'm just kind of clicking the pliers along the surface of the circle that I made, the little loop. Okay, and now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put this on my block. Again, this is 20 gauge wire, so it's really important that you work hard in this just a little bit. You don't have to go crazy, but you do want to make sure that you harden this. Because of the wire wraps, I don't want to bend the wire, so it won't lay flat because of the wire wraps. So I'm going to make sure that the wire wraps are coming off the edge of the block, okay? So that loop lays nice and flat. And then I'm just going to tap it with my hammer. I'm using a nylon jaw hammer for this. Nylon jaw. It doesn't have a jaw on it. This is a nylon hammer. Oh my goodness. Just give it a little tap to work, harden it up some. Flip it over. Same thing. And then you can check it. Mine's good. It's not going to lose its shape. Okay. So that's ready to go. Now I'm going to take one of these really cute rectangle faceted beads. I'm going to slide that on. Okay. Now you can see why it was important that we had that really long tail, because we've still got work to do with this wire. Okay. We're going to come in with our chain nose pliers and grab that wire directly above the bead. We're going to bend the wire 90 degrees and we're going to make a wrapped loop right above the top of that bead. So I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers, going up and over, make that funny little question mark kind of shape, move the pliers out of the way, guide that wire on around. So when I take it off, this is what we've got. We've got plenty of room to do the wraps. Put that back on the pliers. And I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to do the wrapping. You can use your fingers if you want to. It's whatever you are more comfortable with. Around 3 times, just like so. And now I'm going to trim off that tail. So this is a cute, very quick and easy little component that you can use in so many different ways. I do like to turn it to the side, make sure that it is nice and straight. If it's not, you can always give it a little extra love with your pliers to straighten it all out. Make sure that your loop is nice and straight. And there you go. This guy's ready. Now I added the bead here. You don't have to add a bead here. You could just do a regular wrapped loop, forget the bead, but we are including those beautiful pink beads in ours. But you can take this little component and use it a bunch of different ways. So always keep that in mind when I'm showing you stuff. Thank you, Debbie. Debbie says she loves my bracelet. I assume that you're talking about this one. Yes, because I don't have a bracelet on the other hand. I always have to check. I never know what jewelry I have on. Thank you. This is a really easy square knot macrame bracelet. If you want to see the tutorial for this, it's actually on my YouTube channel. So just go over to YouTube and search for Sarah Ellis and it will come up. I did this one a couple of weeks back, so it's been kind of a while, but these beautiful check glass beads are from JJB.com. We need a jingle. I'm going to write us a jingle. All right, so like I said, I already created one of these. So we've got two. We need to make one more. We are... Sylvia says it's another wire wrapping Zen session with Sarah. Why is it so oddly satisfying when every wrap is finished? Okay, I feel the same way. I know it's really ridiculous, but I love wire wrapping. It really is like my personal Zen. It just feels so good. And when they come out beautifully, it's so satisfying. If they come out wonky, I'm like, ah, no. All right, so we're going to create one more of those just for good measure because it doesn't take a long time to do it and practice makes perfect. So I've got another long section of the wire here using that 20 gauge wire. I'm going to put it on the bell making pliers, more down here towards one end than the other. Okay. And I'm just going to take the wire and crisscross, bringing it all down here so that I have a nice loop. I overbend, okay, so that when I take it off of the pliers, I've got that perfect round loop that we're looking for. Can we put that on a shirt? Let's do it. Yes, let's put it on a shirt. I love it. All right, so I'm going to bring in my chain nose pliers, and you can see I'm off center just a bit. Actually, I want to go the other direction. Off centered the opposite direction of the longer tail of the wire. That was probably important information I should have shared with you the first time. All right, so you can see off center just a little bit. Going to take the long end of the wire and bend it straight up and down. Okay. Bend this guy out just a little bit, just so you can get a good grip on it. Okay, take it off of the pliers and we are ready to wire wrap that. So again, bringing in the bent chain nose pliers just so that I have a nice grip on it. And now I'm going to wire wrap. I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to wire wrap that around, going about 3 times. You guys, I have Halloween on the brain. Like, I'm literally sitting here thinking about Halloween. How silly is that? I'm making jewelry and I'm like, Halloween. I'm counting down the days. I cannot wait. I can't wait to show you guys. I've got really special things to show you guys tomorrow. I'm so excited. So be sure you come back tomorrow, 11 a.m. All right, so there's our second loop. Okay, and we're going to work hard in this one just like we did the others. We don't want to forget that step. Just going to put it right on the edge of my block, hit it with the nylon jaw hammer. Nylon jaw, there I go again. I've got jaw on the brain. Nylon hammer, there is no jaw. These are not pliers. I'm going to turn it over just so that I get both sides of it. Steph says you can always print on the back of the shirt and we can always add more. Yes! Oh my goodness, I love you guys so much. All right, so this one is ready to add its beads. We're going to thread the bead on. All right. And we have to say at the end of that, we have to say, because we're extra. Because we are, and I say that all the time, because we're extra. We're just going to add a little more because we're extra. All right, bending that wire 90 degrees. Coming in with the round nose pliers, up and over. Okay, adjusting the grip on the pliers. I'm going to switch hands, and then I'm going to do our little wire wrap here. All right, so that is ready to go. I'm going to come to the back and trim off the wire. I apologize if you hear my dogs barking in the background. The bus just got here. And luckily I unlocked the front door before I started this video because I thought, you know, they may not have their keys, and that's the last thing I need is for my teenagers to be calling me in the middle of this. All right, so there is number 3. Okay, so I'll bring these all out so you can see them. All very, very similar. They're not exactly the same, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Now, just something to note, if you happen to get the tassel pack with the bundle, you can add tassels to the bottom of these. And I almost did that and decided against it because I wanted to use the Swarovski, but I seriously considered putting tassels on the ends of all 3 of these, which would be beautiful, by the way. All right. So these guys need some dangles on the bottom before we add them to chain and make them their own dangles. So what I have used in the other earring is one of these beautiful Swarovski butterflies. It's going to go in the center. It doesn't need anything extra. It's so pretty all by itself. So that one's going to be all on its own. And then on the 2 that are going to be on a little bit shorter, we're going to add a bicone, 1 in pink, 1 in white, and then we are going to put the 2 little lighter pink bicones on either side. Just kind of laying everything out so you can see it. Now, I've already wire wrapped some of these, but because you guys like wire wrapping so much, we're gonna wire wrap some more. All right, so this is where we're going, just so you've got the idea, okay? So let's go ahead and set the ones that already have their little loops on them. We're gonna sit them to the side. These guys need some special attention. Now, one thing to note is that the hole on the butterfly bead is just a tiny bit bigger, not much. It's not what I would consider a large hole bead by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a little tiny bit bigger than the hole on the smaller bicones. So for that reason, I'm going to make my own head pin for it. And then for the smaller beads, I'm going to use some head pins that I already have on hand. This may not be an issue for you. I use the tiniest head pins ever. You can see these guys are like super small. I think these are around like a 24, maybe 23. These are really, really small. Normally your head pins are going to be about a 21 gauge. And if they are 21 gauge, you're not going to have any problems. You're not going to need to make your own for this guy. But it is what it is for me, and it gives me the opportunity to show you guys the head pin trick that we do quite often. So if you've never seen this before, you're going to need a piece of 22 gauge wire, any color. Doesn't matter what color, it's just whatever you're using for the rest of your earring. You're going to need to cut yourself about 4 inches is probably way too much, you guys, but you never know. Sylvia, you are cracking me up. All right, so we're going to grab that wire right at the very, very tip with our round nose pliers. Something on my hand. All right, that had to go. It was going to drive me crazy. All right, so I've got the tip of the wire right at the tip of the pliers. And we are going to turn a loop around the tip of the pliers once. Okay, that was just one wrap around, and now twice around right underneath that first one, and then we're going to stop as soon as you see where that wire is cut. You can see that shiny flat surface right there. Okay, so before I take it off of the pliers, I'm going to take that wire and bend it out this direction, kind of straighten it up with my fingers. All right, taking it off the pliers, you can see my 2 little coils here at the end are ready to go. I'm going to take the tail end of the wire. I'm going to go back through the 2 little coils that we made. Okay, making this funny, weird little shape. And then I'm going to come in with my nylon jaw pliers. There's that jaw. This time I actually mean it. These pliers do have a jaw. All right, so now I'm going to grab the tail end of that wire and I'm going to give it a pull. I'm pulling hard. You can see me shaking. And we have this cute little rosette where we've tied a knot into the bottom of our wire, and voila, we have our own head pin ready to go. So we're going to thread on our butterfly bead, let that drop all the way down, okay? And now we're going to wire wrap at the top of the butterfly. You want to be sure, because of the way the butterfly is shaped, that V shape here at the top, it's kind of difficult to get your pliers in there to make that space. So give yourself a little extra space. You can see I've given myself just a tiny bit of extra space. You can turn this to the side and really get your pliers down inside there if you want to, but your wire wrap will not be very pretty. So definitely give yourself some extra space there, and then bend that wire 90 degrees. Okay, take that off of the pliers, coming in with the round nose, up and over. and then on around. Now you can see why that extra space was so important, because it's really kind of a funny shape to be wire wrapping, but we're gonna make it work. All right, so tail end of the wire, I'm just gonna wrap around. I've got plenty of room to make 3 wire wraps. I could, if I wanted to get crazy, get in there. You can see there's room for even 1 more wire wrap, but I'm not gonna push it because I want those wire wraps to be nice and pretty. And if I push that 4th wrap in there, it's going to mess everything up. So I'm not going to. I'm just gonna leave it just like it is. I've got plenty of room to come in with my cutter tool and trim off the tail. There is a little bit of movement because of that extra space, so your butterfly has room to move back and forth. That's fine. No problem there. All right, so he's ready to go. Nice and pretty. The rest of this we are going to do on our little head pins. And I like to whip these up pretty quickly. And if you guys want to know a secret about just the little weirdness that is Sarah, I love wire wrapping on tiny head pins. So not only do I love to wire wrap, like make a wrapped loop, my most favorite way to make a wire wrapped loop is with these tiny, super thin head pins. I don't know why. I have no idea what it is about them, but it's so satisfying and so silly, I know. But I don't know, the wire just works. I don't know, it just does its thing, and it's just very gratifying. All right, so I'm grabbing that wire right at the tip. I've got that tiny little bicone on there. I'm gonna bend that wire 90 degrees. Something about this wire, look how sharp that bend is. It's just really, it's just good stuff. That's all I can say. All right, round nose pliers coming in, up and over. Adjusting my grip just a tiny bit, bringing it on around. Okay, and now I'm gonna wire up. This part is the most satisfying part with this tiny wire. I don't know why, but it just winds around like a clock. I don't know, it's just, see how nice that was? How silly I am. I know. All right, so there is your little loop with your wire wrap, ready to go. Super quick and easy. And we've got 3 more to go. So let's just get these moving right along. Kind of zip through these so we can get over to putting our earring together. So a lot of times I will make just 1 earring and then I'll make the other earring later so that I can take pictures of it or whatever I'm going to do with it. But this time around I made the earrings and I kept the second one together because I have full intentions of wearing these for the rest of the day today. All right. JD says, keep getting crappy head pins too stiff to wrap nicely. Yes, I feel you. I feel you. It's all about the wire. And I don't know what the secret is to these. I don't even know where I got these, but they're like really good. I wish I knew for sure. I would love to say, oh, these are Beetle-on head pins, but the truth is I don't know that for sure. It's a pretty good bet that they are because that's, you know, that's who supplies and, you know, I work for them, but I can't really say that for sure. They do have really nice head pins though, so I will say that. All right. Zipping on around here. Oh, see, look. Okay, look at what happened. I know this is totally silly, but you see how I wrapped around the bead and I also wrapped around my chain nose pliers? I love it when that happens. I know, so silly, so silly. It's funny the things when you make jewelry, it's funny the things that you find so satisfying. And other people that don't make jewelry, they just don't get it. They just don't understand. All right, last one. Bending the wire, coming in with the round nose pliers, up and over. Sharon says, hi from Tucson. Hi, Sharon. You know, it's possible that we may be in Tucson coming up in February. You guys will just have to stay tuned and see. Nothing definite, but it's definitely an idea we are throwing around. All right, last one. All right, so now all of our little wire wrapping is done. We have these cute little dangles that are all ready to go. We are going to add these to our little loops that we made, and we're going to use 4mm jump rings for this. Sometimes I don't use jump rings. You guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that sometimes I avoid jump rings, but sometimes they're necessary and they do add extra movement. And I'm not particularly worried about these earrings coming apart for any reason, so I am going to use jump rings here. So I just opened up one of the 4mm jump rings. I'm going to go ahead and thread our little butterfly onto that and then thread it on to one of our hoops. Okay, now this guy is ready for chain. Just going to sit it to the side. All right, same thing with the rest of them. We're going to use that larger bicone to hang in the middle. So I'm going to put it on first. I'm going to thread that on, and then we're going to put one of the smaller bicones on either side. So I'll lay that down so you can see it. We're going to put these little pink guys on either side of this one. Okay. And thread that on. All right. One more for this one, and then we'll move on to the third one. All right. Now that one is ready to go. One more to go. I actually ended up with one extra of these beads. That's all right. Okay, so again with the 4mm jump rings, you can use 6mm here if you want to. Sharon says Tucson is an awesome show. It really is. Tucson, I went to Bead True Blue several years back to do the booth with Beadalon. That's actually the first time I met Miss Sarah James, and it was overwhelming. Like, I had such a good time being in the booth, but when I left the booth to go shopping, I literally was overwhelmed. Like, there was so much to see, I didn't know where to start. So I really think I only saw about a fourth of what there was, but man, I found some really cool stuff. If you can ever get out to Tucson during all of the shows, definitely put that on your list, your to-do list, if you've never done it before. It's well worth the trip. And Tucson is beautiful. I'm not much of a hot weather, dry climate kind of person, but Tucson was really amazing. I had never seen mountains that looked like you could reach out and touch them like they are in Tucson. It was really breathtaking. Oh, Rachel. Rachel says you and Sarah need to come and do a UK tour. Oh man, would I love that. Let me send Sarah a note. I've never been across the ocean, so oh yeah, that would be amazing. That would be a dream come true. All right, let's put these guys together, okay? Because this has been such a simple little project. These whip up really, really quickly. I've got 3 little pieces of chain here. You can do this however you want to. I don't have an exact measurement on this because these pieces of chain are just so tiny. I have, this one's about 1/2 inch, maybe just a tiny bit more than 1/2 inch. That's going to be in the middle. I'm going to attach 4mm jump rings to that. And then the next 2 longest is, I believe that's 5 little links. Just tiny. And then this guy is only 3 links, and it doesn't even want to lay flat. That's how short it is. Definitely adjust all of this depending on how long you want your earrings to be. Some people don't like your earrings to be super long and dangly. This is really kind of a medium length set of earrings as far as dangles are concerned. So you might want to shorten this up if you're not into having them being really, really long. All right, so I'm just using a 4mm jump ring there to add the chain. This is the middle with that butterfly, so it gets the longest piece of chain. Then I'm just going to use more jump rings to connect the chain pieces. And our little hoops. I love earrings. I don't know about you guys, but earrings are just so much fun. There's so many different things you can do with earrings. I feel like I do a lot of earrings projects on here, but you can always take an earring component and turn it into a necklace component. You could take these hoops that we've made and stagger them in a tier shape for a necklace. They would be really awesome. All right, attaching this guy to the smallest little piece of chain. All right. Okay, last but not least, we're opening one more jump ring. And again, this is a 4, but you could use a 6 here. It's totally up to you, but you do want to be sure that you thread these on in the order that you want them to be hanging. So this is the second to longest here. The longest goes next, and then the short one. And then before I close this jump ring, I'm going to go ahead and add my ear wire, thread that on, and close it up. And your earring is donezo. Donezo, donezo. Really, really pretty, easy. Imagine just for a second that you didn't make earrings out of this, and this is your tiered, like you separated these all out with some really beautiful boho beads in between, and had this like long section, put a bead here, bead here, bead here for a necklace. How cool would that be? Super, super cool. So always lots of different options. When I show you guys a design, I always take into consideration as I'm designing what else you can do with the exact same thing. So always keep that in mind. All right, I'm gonna flip you around, and I'm actually gonna put these on because they deserve to be worn. That's what we're gonna do. So let me flip you around. Hi, hi. Oh, Trisha says she loves these. She loves long earrings. I do too. I really, really do. I don't have a lot of pink. Pink is hard for me to wear because I have red hair. So a lot of times pink is one of those things that is difficult. I love it, but it's hard to wear. I do want to show you guys these as I take these out. Speaking of Tucson and meeting Sarah James, I got these from Jesse James Beads like a million years ago at Tucson. You can see them. The glare here is so bad. There, that might help a little bit. Do you see those? I got these from Jesse James Beads, like, I don't even remember how many years ago it was when I was in Tucson from the booth. I couldn't resist because they are hot pink. Like really, they're hot pink and green, and it does not come across because of the glare, but like they're awesome. Awesome, awesome. So that's what I had for pink. All right, but now I have these guys. I'm gonna put these on because they are super, super cool. Look at that. Yeah, that's a funky fun earring. I really, really love those. Sylvia says, in light of October, ladies, get your mammogram done. Yes, absolutely. That's what we're here for. Yeah, we made some beautiful earrings. These are fun and funky and cool, but going right on back to Breast Cancer Awareness Month for October. And really, I love that we have October to highlight it and to kind of draw attention to it, but the truth is that it's something that needs our attention all year long. So if you've got something active in your community, like our Buddy Check 10 program that we have here, another, if you've got another similar kind of setup in your area, definitely participate in something like that. And, you know, don't forget the men in your life. Like I said, less than 1% of men get breast cancer, but if it were my loved one, 1% is too much, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. 1%, I don't even care what the number, what that equals out to, because when it is your family member, man or woman, cancer is not one of those things that you ever want to hear, not just for breast cancer, but because breast cancer awareness is for October, that's what we are focused on at the moment. Definitely, yeah, definitely check yourself out. Check yourself out. You don't necessarily want to check your friends out, but remind your friends to check themselves out, because you know, early detection is key. So yeah, that is it for me, you guys. I hope you have enjoyed this project. Definitely don't forget to go shop on those beautiful pink beads. 20% of that goes to the Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation, which is a wonderful cause. So, all right, you guys, come back tomorrow, 11 a.m. You guys, I don't even have the beads for tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm not going to say a word about it.
you're just going to have to come back and see what it is. It's good stuff. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Like I said, things are going to get a little spooky around here, so be sure you come back tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. I will look forward to seeing all of you guys and your precious little faces tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Have a wonderful rest of the day. And yeah,